Hey everyone, Charlie here with High on Diabetes. Excited to bring you this video today because I have my sister with me and because we both have different pumps, two pumps that are really popular right now. I have the Tandem T-Slim and she has the Medtronic 670G. We want to help you decide if one of these pumps is right for you, so we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. You should know before we get going that this is not a sponsored video. We just want to show you the facts. We're not trying to convince you one way or the other. Also, before you do a bunch of research, you should call your insurance. We have experience with this where the insurance only covers one kind of pump anyway. Also, we are not medical professionals. We have lived with these pumps and we have created opinions about them, but you should definitely talk to your doctor first to make sure that this is the right path for you.
For a size comparison, here's the T-Slim, an old Medtronic pump, and the new Medtronic 670G. As you can see, the T-Slim is smaller than the old Medtronic, and the new Medtronic is larger.
One thing that helps with the size, you can see the new Medtronic cartridge is just shaped differently than how Tandem does their cartridges. The trade-off though is that you have this connector a little bit down the line of your tubing. Don't be scared by this. It's really easy to connect, but because people see these in the hospital, they think, medical device, and it kind of freaks them out. But it's easy to use and it hasn't been a problem, at least not for me. Okay, another difference between Tandem and Medtronic are their clips. And I know I said I wasn't going to say opinions, but I know that I'm not the only one that has this opinion. The Tandem clip is not easy. It doesn't stay. And it makes sense because it's pushing outward, it bends outward, whereas the Medtronic clip, it's got a little hook there. So it hooks to your clothing better, whereas this one is more likely to slide out.
Also, a nice feature of the Medtronic clip is that, when you get bumped against something, sometimes your clip breaks. Instead, the Medtronic clip will pop up. It still stays attached to your clothing, and you just click it back in. No harm done.
One thing that's really cool about the Tandem pump is that it is a touchscreen. This gets rid of a lot of time toggling through menus and pushing the up arrow to get to the number of carbs or the units of insulin. It's very quick and easy. The menus are very self-explanatory. I feel like this is a very user-friendly pump.
On the opposite side, the Medtronic 670G has menus. It's not a touchscreen. You have your arrows and you have to go through different menus to figure out what you're trying to get to. And that can be hard at first, but once you figure out where everything is, it's not that bad. The 670G takes a AA battery, and coming from an old Medtronic pump, I was surprised at how fast the battery runs out. So just be aware of that. The battery might last a month and a half.
I also used to have a Medtronic pump and was used to having batteries with me, and this one is actually a rechargeable battery, and so I have to actually plug myself into the wall in order to keep my battery charged. And for me, that's been really hard. But if you can get into the habit of always plugging it in at the same time, say when you're showering or at work while you're sitting at your computer, then you'll never have to worry about not having a full battery charge. It's very bad to get to zero with this. It happened to me in the middle of the night. I got to zero and it shut off. And the worst part about it was when I did get a charge back, I had to redo the whole insulin cartridge, put a whole new one in, and all diabetics know how much supplies cost, so that was really a bummer for me. I was frustrated with that. The sensor did kick back in. I didn't have to replace my Dexcom sensor that's attached to this, but the reservoir, I had to start all over.
The Medtronic, if you lose all your battery charge and can't replace it in time, it will reconnect to the sensor and have all the settings. You just have to be patient to get that connection back.
Or even turning, like unlocking the pump to do anything, you actually do get quite a bit of information from the home screen. You can see my battery. I'm at my pancreas is at 85%. You can see how much insulin I have left in my reservoir. Because you can see what insulin I have working on me, the 2.39 units there. Date, time, all that good stuff. And because the Tandem pump can connect to the Dexcom G6 sensor, I'm also seeing my glucose readings from the sensor. And the nice thing about this is you can do what's called Control IQ, where those red lines are where the pump suspended on its own to avoid a low. And then if I go above that yellow line that I have set at 150, the pump will give me a bolus to help bring my blood sugar down. It's really an awesome feature, the Control IQ.
Here's the home screen for the Medtronic pump, and we have battery life, insulin, what your sound setting is, if it's connected to the sensor, and when I need to next calibrate. If I had just calibrated, this circle would be green and full. You'll also see how much active insulin you have working on you. This pump connects to the Guardian sensor, and so you can see my history throughout the day of blood sugars and what I am right now.
Alright, here's just a quick overview of the supplies with each of the pumps. Here on the left are my Tandem pump supplies. A little bit more you can see than what the Medtronic 670G requires. The difference is that in order to get the old cartridge out, you actually need this little device. I've been able to use other household items to fit in the little wedge that you use to pop it out, but this is really nice to have, and it's kind of a bummer that you have to have something to get it out. You can't just use your fingers. It also has what seems to be an extra step, an added step that the Medtronic doesn't have, where you use a syringe and you attach the needle top to the syringe, and that's how you pull in your insulin, and then you put the syringe into the cartridge and push the insulin into it. Where the Medtronic, you can see the syringe and the cartridge are already attached.
And with the Medtronic, if you have a Medtronic pump already, these supplies you'll recognize them. They're the same as with the old Medtronic pump. One difference is that the new Medtronic pump has a bigger cartridge. However, if you still have smaller cartridges, they will fit in the pump, so you can use either. Both pumps have very similar alerts, and you can change the volume or vibration on both pumps. One thing that the Medtronic does have is an option to silence all alerts for a certain amount of time. So when I go into a work meeting, I like to silence those alerts. It can't be for all day, but just for that hour or two.
I do not have that option with the Tandem pump. I mean, I do put all of my alerts on vibrate, but no matter what, if I get really low, it's going to make a sound. I can't pause that for a work meeting. It also makes a very loud sound when the battery goes below 5%. That's annoying in the middle of the night, but also very good because you don't want it to go to 0. The other thing is a lot of the alerts depend on whether or not you're using a sensor with your pump. So Ashley's pump, she has to calibrate, and it will alert her when she needs to calibrate. I wear the Dexcom G6, which does not require any calibrations, so I don't get an alert for that. But I do get alerts for being high or low on insulin, all the normal ones that the Medtronic pump also has.